नमस्ते मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, वेलकम बैक। बिफोर वी स्टार्ट, जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब बटन दबा दो एंड शेयर दिस विद योर फ्रेंड्स। Today, we are going to master a very, very important chapter for your exams, natural hazards and disasters.
My dear students, you have all seen scary pictures just like this one, right? On TV or maybe scrolling online. This is exactly why this chapter is so important, not just for getting good marks, but for life.
To make it super simple for you, here's our roadmap. First, we'll clear up the confusion between a hazard and a disaster. Then we'll look at India's biggest challenges, how we can fight back, and finally, we'll practice some key questions for your exam. So let's dive in.
First up, hazard versus disaster. Now, this is a classic question that can confuse anyone, but not you, not after this. So, what is the main difference? Really, just think about it for a second. Let's say there's a huge cyclone in the middle of the ocean where there are no people, no ships. Is that a disaster?
It's simple, really. A hazard is just the potential to cause harm, like a volcano that's just sleeping, or a river that could flood. But a disaster, that's when the harm actually happens. The volcano erupts and destroys a village. Now that is a disaster.
For your exam, you need to remember this proper textbook definition. So, the most crucial point is this. A hazard becomes a disaster only when it hits us humans. It's all about the impact on people and property. And listen carefully, this is a guaranteed one-marker question, so lock it in your brain.
Okay, now let's look at the three major troublemakers for our country. For each one, we are going to see the why. Why does it happen? And the where. Where does it happen? This is so important for understanding our geography. First up, earthquakes. Chalo, let's look at this map. Just look closely at those dark red areas. You can see the entire Himalayan belt, all of the northeast, and even the Kutch area in Gujarat. These are all in the very high-risk zone.
So why do they happen here? I want you to imagine two big laddus pushing against each other. What happens? They press and crack. That's basically what's happening with our Indian plate. It's slowly moving north and pushing into the giant Eurasian plate, building up all this pressure that gets released as an earthquake. That's why the Himalayas are so shaky. Remember this reason. It's a very important exam question.
Next up, floods. Every year during the monsoon, we see this on the news, right? This map here shows the most affected areas so brilliantly. You can see the big river basins in Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh. So yeah, these floods are mainly in the northern and eastern parts of India. Our mighty rivers like the Brahmaputra and the Ganga, well, they bring life, but sometimes they bring destruction too. And it's not just the heavy monsoon rains or melting snow. Human activities like cutting down forests or deforestation make it all so much worse, because there are no trees to help the soil absorb the extra water.
And the third big challenger is cyclones. These are incredibly powerful storms that form over the sea and then come and hit our coasts. You can see on the map that our entire eastern coast is very vulnerable, especially states like Odisha and Andhra Pradesh.
The best way to think of these cyclones is like giant heat engines. They get all their power from the warm, moist air over the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. They bring heavy rains and crazy strong winds, but you know what the most dangerous part is? It's something called a storm surge. It's when the sea level suddenly rises and floods everything on the coast. It's absolutely terrifying. So, with all these powerful forces of nature, can we do anything? Can we fight back? And the answer is yes, we absolutely can. And that brings us to our next crucial topic, disaster management.
See, both the government and us, the citizens, can respond in three simple stages. What we do before the disaster, what we do during it, and what we do after. And you know which one is the most important? It's the first one, being prepared before it strikes. Planning, making maps, and teaching people what to do. That's what saves the most lives.
Okay, bachcho, time for your exam corner. Tension nahi lene ka. Let's tackle those hot questions from this chapter I mentioned so you can go in and score full marks.
Okay, question number 1. Remember our very first discussion? That guaranteed one marker? What did we learn at the very beginning?
Exactly. Perfect. The magic formula is a hazard becomes a disaster when it hits a populated area and causes widespread loss of life and property. You just write these keywords in your answer and you will get full marks, guaranteed.
And now for the big concept question. Come on, think about those laddus. Remember what was happening with the Earth's plates?
Yes, this is the key point you need to write for full marks. It's all about the movement of the tectonic plates. If you mention that the Indian plate is pushing against the Eurasian plate, the examiner will know you've really understood the concept.
So my dear students, please remember this. This chapter doesn't want to scare you. It wants to teach us all how to be smart and prepared for our exams and, more importantly, for life.
I really hope this was super helpful for your revision. Now, don't be selfish. Share it with all your classmates so they can learn too. If you have any questions at all, just ask me in the comments below. All the very best, and I will see you in the next explainer.